Hello! Now it's time to add some furniture to our interior design. Now there are multiple ways that we can do this. We can go to our Chaos Cosmos, and as I told you before, Chaos Group has merged with the Corona team. So now we have the whole Chaos Group library at our reach. Now we also can go to different websites, and we're going to be seeing some of them in a moment. However, I wanted to talk to you about the furniture topic. Now imagine that we have a render that we have to do in around 4 to 5 days for our client. And each of our furniture, it's gonna take us around 4 to 5 hours to model. If it's a very detailed furniture such as a chair or a couch, it's gonna take us a lot of time to do that. And time is money. So we can't spend a whole day just modeling a chair, for instance. The unexperienced call this cheating. However, it's not cheating at all, because once again, it's gonna cost us literally lots of money. So to access the Chaos Group library, there's this icon called Open Cosmos Browser. So we can get our furniture from there, or we can go to our website. So let's take a look at the most popular website for 3D models on the internet. So here I am in 3dsky.org. So this is the most popular website, and the reason that it's so popular is because it has very high quality products and also very realistic. Apart from that, the prices are not bad at all. Now for each of the 3D models that we can find here, it only costs us $7. So imagine that. So let's just take this one for instance. Now if we go to this view, which shows us the mesh of the couch, you can see how detailed it is. This would take us around 2 to 3 hours to make. So for $7, it's not bad at all. Now there are plenty more, such as this model here. Again, all of the models are worth just $7. And if we go over to this car, just imagine how much time you'll be spending doing this model. We also have sets. So for example, we have the kitchen tableware here, in which we have multiple models for us to use. So I highly recommend you using this website for your 3D assets, especially for the interior ones. Now you just have to sign in and create an account and you're good to go. Now for our course, we're just going to be using the Chaos Cosmos right now. Obviously later on, we'll be getting some from the 3dsky.org website. Now let's open our Cosmos browser just to check out what we can find in here. So here I am inside the Chaos Cosmos, and it's a very friendly user application. For example, we have furniture, we have accessories, lighting, we even have vegetation. So let's go into vegetation, and if we go to flowers, grass, and rocks, for instance, we can even add some grass to our model. And obviously some details like this rock here, which looks decently realistic. Now what's the difference between the Chaos Cosmos and our 3dsky models? Well, 3dsky models are obviously a little bit more realistic. On the other hand, we have the Chaos Cosmos, which is very efficient. So we can create really fast renders with this application. And obviously it comes in with the Corona license, so we don't have to spend more money. We can even get some HDRIs, but we're not going to be looking at them right now. We will save this for our exterior renderings. Let's go into furniture and just download any furniture that you'd like to add to the interior design that we've created. Now, the way that you can import any of these 3D models is by just clicking here on the download icon and then clicking on the export. So what I had in mind for our interior design is to have some kind of bedroom, and over here at the back some kind of study area. So let's get the furniture that matches with my design. I'm gonna get this bed here, and for my study area I'll get a comfortable chair. Let's see what I can find here. This one looks pretty nice. So I'm just downloading all of the furniture that I'm going to use. Maybe some decorations like a small table or a bookcase. There we go. This one looks very nice. Alright, so once we download it, I can just hit this green button, which is the export asset. So let's export this bed, and automatically it's going to pop into my 3ds Max viewport. You can see how efficient it is. And it acts just like any other object here in 3ds Max. I'm just going to put this bed here, make sure that you have your snaps off, and back here I might just drag these two objects outside and add some furniture from the Cosmos browser. Alright, let's go ahead and export this bookshelf. Alright, let's just check it if everything is going fine. So let's go to our scene and start interactive. So now for the sake of this exercise, I'll ask you to download any furniture that you like and export it to your 3ds Max. So let's make it as detailed as we can. And what I'm going to do right now is the same thing. I'm just going to look for the right kind of furniture for my room, and then I'll come back to you. Alright, now that we've populated all of our interior design with some furniture, it's time to go back to our Corona sky. So I'm going to just turn off my sun. So the way to do that is just by selecting it, and you can see this box which says checked on. I'm just going to deselect it like so. Now I'm going to go back to my Corona sky inside my material slate, and I'm going to increase this intensity to 0.65. And let's have a look at how it looks. Let's go into our render setup, our scene, and start interactive. And there we go. Looks much better. I noticed that these beams up here are a little bit too low. So let's just drag them up a little bit. We can do this by just going to our polygon selection, and let's select all of our beams. And there we go. Now let's just drag them up a little bit. Like so. Now let's check our rendering again, scene. Let's go to our scene tab and start interactive. There, it looks a little bit better, but this light, it just looks a bit funny. So I'm just going to look for one that matches the scene better. And also, you remember that we have our floor generator up here. Let's also drag it a little bit upwards. So let's go to our lateral view and drag it just a bit upwards. Let's go back to our Chaos Cosmos, or maybe the spotlights are better for our interior. I'm just going to delete this ones, F3, just to grab it better. And we also have the Corona light here, which came with our 3D model, which is a plus. So let's just drag it all the way up here. And I want this spotlights actually to be lighting up this study area here. And I can actually copy them. So with my shift key, I can just copy them. Now, once again, let's just see how we're doing. We can also add some curtains. So I'm going to go to my Chaos Cosmos and look for curtains. And we have quite a few here. I'm going for this simple ones. You can pick whichever you like, obviously. I'm going to go to this view here and drag it over here. Let's just place it like so. And they're a little bit too high. Let's just grab my whole ceiling and drag it a little bit upwards. So let's go to left view, and I'm going to select my polygons. Actually, let's go for vertices. And I'm going to drag it deselect this, and now let's go for floor generator and drag it. And obviously we want to take all of our beams, so for this I'm going to select my edges from my beams and drag them like so that I have a little bit more space for my curtains there. Now the good thing about this is that I can convert this to an editable mesh so that I can just play around its length or height. So I'm going to right click and convert it to edit mesh. Let's go to another view, and if I select my vertices, you can see that I can select this side like this, and I have all of these vertices which I can control. And now I can just drag it to the side so that it covers my whole window there. There we go. And now if I just copy it, because I obviously have another window over here. So let's just grab this one and drag it all the way over here. So let's check if everything is doing okay. Yeah, we could add another curtain there, but this time just one of it. So let's go for this one. And let's just export it to our 3ds Max. Now if I drag this one out, you can see that it doesn't have any support at the top. And I'm just going to reuse the one that I have right now. So if I click the element, I can separate the curtains and this element right here. So let's just pick the supports up here and detach them, and I'm going to use it as clone. And now I have an extra detail here just modeled in an instant. I'm going to reduce its size with the vertices just to match my new curtain. And let's just reduce its height like so. And now I'm going to group them together. So I'm going to go to the group tab and group, and let's name it curtain. Oops. And okay, let's go to our top side and let's just cover this window here. Let's just place it so that it matches the height, and I'm going to just drag it all the way over here like so. Now let's see if our light hasn't gone out so much. I don't want this to be too dark. I know it's pretty perfect. Now I'm going to add some paintings so that the walls don't look that empty. So let's go back to our Chaos Cosmos. So let's go to our accessories. Let's just look for something there for our walls. I'm sure there must be something. And there we go. All right, so it says print art, probably this one and this one too. So I'm just going to export it and export this one. And let's just add them to our scene here. There we go. And now this one, let's just drag it all the way to the back. Make sure that you're creating your own type of design with the furniture. Go crazy with all of the library from our Cosmos. Now, one thing to keep in mind, that if you want to create a close-up or for very close objects, such as this table here, you might have to go and find something on our 3dsguy.org website. But this is just if you want to go all in for this particular example. I wouldn't suggest you to do so because we're going to be making our own interior designs later in the course. So just save your money for now until we get to our very own examples. Now these sets over here are used more for some close-up shots, alright? And if we go to 3ds Guy and let's say that I want to find a chair here, here we have the option to go to the free models or the pro models. Now in the free models, obviously they won't have as much detail as the pro ones, and their realism is not as good as the other ones. However, there can be lifesavers. And make sure that if you go here in the relevance, you will just click on the top. Then you will have the free 3D models, which are very, very good quality. So sometimes they are as high quality as the pro models, as you can see this one. Okay, and for example, you wouldn't find something like this in the Chaos Cosmos browser. So keep that in mind. If you want to go for a very high-end quality render, you will have to find some really high 3D assets. Also, keep in mind that if you find something that has multiple objects inside it, so again, let's look for a sofa, for instance. Make sure that you're going to the Pro model right now, and in relevance, let's go to top. Now make sure that you're going to have multiple assets within the object that you're buying. So let's look for an example here. Like for this one, we have many cushions, we have the scarves there. So there's lots of 3D assets there. For example, this one, it's just the sofa, and this one is actually not that detailed. We could actually build this ourselves. So keep that in mind and be careful not to waste your points. Now here again, we have some extra details, and you can see that the realism here, it's very nice. Here we have again the cushions with some clothes there. Now we have this pattern, this square pattern, because the person who modeled this is showing us that the UV-W mapping is also integrated with this model. So obviously the Pro models are all ready to use, and we're going to be talking about UV-W mapping once we start creating our own materials. So if you want to buy one right now, which I don't recommend, just wait until we go further into the course. I recommend you to just look for something that has lots of 3D assets on it. Alright everyone, so if you have downloaded some kind of furniture from the 3dsky.org website and you extract all of it, you should have something like this. So in this folder here we have our maps. If I double click it, we will have all of the materials that come with this particular 3D model. Let's go back. And in this case, I got the Corona version and also the V-Ray version. It doesn't matter that you have the V-Ray and not the Corona version. We will transform these materials into a Corona later on. Okay, so it's actually very easy to import this to our 3ds Max. The only thing that we have to do is just to drag our 3ds Max file like so, and I'm going to select the merge file option. So this way 3ds Max will acquire all of the settings in which this file was saved. And that's all to it. Alright everyone, so I hope you had a lots of fun with this exercise. I must say that I had lots of fun doing it. So in the next lecture we'll continue. I'll see you soon.